performing arts. And so this morning we are going to do 2 sets of activities in order to sort of explore this issue of sort of bullying prevention. I don't know if this has ever happened to you when you were preparing to give a presentation and you wake up in the morning and you have forgotten everything you were going to present. So I can't remember a thing about bullying. So we'll see how we might connect some of the activities that we're going to do with what you are hoping to learn today. So let's start by getting you up out of your seats and just maybe make a large circle in the room. We're going to move your stuff out of the way because we're going to move around the room a bit, and this might be a little challenging for you as a videographer. It might actually be easier for you to well, you'll figure it out, okay? So why don't we just start with a really quick introduction, just very, very quickly, who you are and why you chose this session and why you're here at this conference. And let's just go really fast and then we'll kind of jump into some activities. We can start anywhere.
I'm Cindy. I work in financial aid, and I'm here because I deal a lot with one-on-one with students that don't know who their parents are, where they are, or what they've been through. So I'm just kind of wanting to get some tips on how to recognize them, sign, and help them out.
I'm Glenn Hill. I'm the Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
My background is in painting.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, wonderful. Great, great. We're going to do a little fun activity. You might get a little kick out. Who's next?
I'm Erin, and this session is a fun.
Sounds fun. Okay, all right.
I'm
Set the
Jordan.
bar high there, Aaron. All right. Uh-huh.
I'm Jordan. I really like art, and I'm a teacher education major.
Fabulous.
So I
Fabulous.
see that in class.
Fabulous. I think you're exactly the kind of person I wanted to sort of take this thing. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Lyric Nationals. This day is for my clay is her.
Okay, Lyric. One of my play daughters' name is Lyric. So I call her Lyrical. All right. Yes.
I'm Debbie, and I chose this session just because I'm really interested in include art and video lessons.
Fabulous.
I'm Brittany, and I agree with Jordan. I have an interest in art, and so I got this one.
Cool beans.
I'm Kelsey. I'm a teacher major, and I
Excellent.
joined this group because I thought that it would be fun and to be able to learn some tips on how to integrate it.
Okay, great. Excellent. Just exactly what I was looking for. Yes.
I'm David. I'm an elementary ed major,
Okay.
and I picked this one because it sounded interesting.
Okay.
I think I can integrate something that the kids will like.
Cool beans. All right.
Hi, I'm Svenja. I'm here as a volunteer, and I volunteer because I'm very interested in bullying as I'm a school psychology graduate student.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you so much. So we're going to do 2 sets of exercises. One that comes out of the theater world and the other that comes out of the visual arts world. So what I'd like you to do first, it's going to be a little bit challenging, is I want you to just begin walking through the space that we have and try to fill up the space. So just walk all through the room as a group and just take a couple of seconds. Just you got to get comfortable, walk through the space. As you're moving, I'm going to give you some other instructions. Okay? I'm going to, whoever stuff this is, I'm going to stick it here out of the way. All right. Because we only have a little bit of time today, we're going to have to move a little quickly. Okay? So when I clap my hands, I'd like you to start walking a little faster. As you're walking through the space, one of the things that you might notice is that there are actually other people here that are also walking through the space. And while you're walking, you might take occasion to make eye contact with someone and just sort of acknowledge that you're all in here and you are walking through this space together. clap my hands, ask you to move a little faster. It'd be nice if we had a larger space, but sometimes when you're teaching, you're in the classroom, you have what you have, isn't that right? Yeah. So you sort of have to make do with what you have. So you're walking through the space, noticing that there are other people that are walking through the space. So I've had you moving pretty quickly in this space. You can play with the idea of slowing down and moving fast through the space. You don't have to walk at the same pace. You can slow down, move fast. You can make eye contact, almost sort of nod and say hello to the other people in the space. There's something else that I'd like you to pay attention to. As you're moving through the space, besides noticing that there are other people in the space, you might also notice, and you've been paying attention to this already, that there are openings between the people in the space. Like there's one there. So I want you to pay attention to is not only moving through the space, but also taking advantage of the openings that you might see between people, and consciously making a decision to go through openings. It's making a decision to consciously go through openings. So you're playing with your speed, moving fast, moving slow, looking for openings, darting through openings. Making eye contact. Okay, now as you're moving through the space, I want you to think about making contact with one particular person. And here's how I want you to make contact with that person. Without letting that person know, without giving any strong indication to that person, I want you to think about moving closer to that person. So if you were a stalker and you're being a really good stalker, you want to be able to get right up on your victim without them knowing it, okay? So I want you to pick one person to move closer to. Just one person in the group to move closer to. Okay, now I want you to stop. Stop where you are. Okay? What happened to the group? How would you describe where you are right now?
Clustered.
You're sort of clustered together. Why do you think that happened?
Because multiple people are stalking the same person.
Oh, is that, you think that's right? All right, so does anyone know who their stalker is?
I can guess.
Who? Is that right? Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's so one of the lessons is that if you make a decision to move close to one person in the group, that tends to have an impact on the entire group. And if you sort of look at how the entire group is clustered, it gives you an example of how that kind of works out physically. It also works socially, psychologically, and emotionally. So let's get you moving again through the circle. Forget about stalking. Just move around. As you're moving this time, I'd like you to pick one person again, and this time I want you to get as far away from that person without leaving the room as you can. As far away from that person without leaving the room as you can. And again, let's stop. So again, how would you describe the position of everyone in the room? Pretty dispersed, not clustered like you were. There's a little gathering over here. So
We're in corners.
you're in corners. How about that? What I remember from what's coming to mind about bullying which I'm sort of, in some way, kind of asking you to think about in this regard, is I remember there being a great deal of focus of attention on bullying behavior, on the bully, and then sort of on the people who were bullied, and on the people who were witnessing the bullying. And there is, as I understand it, that when we intervene very early, when we don't intervene very early on in bullying, then people who are witnessing the bullying begin to respond in particular ways, right? So people will join in on the bullying if we don't intervene. Does that make sense? That's sort of one of the things that I remember. But oftentimes the focus is on the bully, the bullied, and then sort of folks that are around those two players. I'm sort of asking you to think about the milieu, the context in which bullying takes place in a classroom and in a school, and how we create a particular kind of milieu that either encourages or discourages certain kinds of bullying behavior. So can you tell who was trying to avoid you in this scenario? Does anyone know? Who were you trying to? Tell me your name again.
Glenn.
Glenn, who are you trying to avoid? Do you two know each other?
No.
You don't know each other. Okay. Why is he avoiding you? What's he? I don't know. And what about you? Who were you? Okay. All right. And what about you? Who were you? Wow, that's very interesting that happened. You two are almost the farthest apart in the room. What about you? Ah, another one. Okay. Who else? How about you? Who were you avoiding? David?
No, the band.
Okay. What's your name?
Jody.
Jody. Okay. And Lyric. Okay, Jody. So you're. And how about you?
I'm
Okay. Pretty dispersed. How about you?
Volunteer.
The volunteer. It doesn't even have a name. The volunteer. What's your name again?
Svenja.
Svenja. Svenja. Okay. What about you? Wait. Who else? Who were you avoiding? How about you, David? Yeah, pretty interesting. Okay. All right. So let's get you moving through the space again. All right. This time, what I want you to do is I want you to pick up the speed a little bit, and I also want you to think about one person to keep your eye on and to move close to. So now that you have that one person, I want you to think of a second person. So I want you to add a second person in that mix. And maybe you're trying to be equidistant from both people. This is kind of interesting. All right, can you add a third?
Oh, sure.
Right, so Glenn's just like this, right in the middle. All right, so stop. So what you've been doing is actually kind of an interesting exercise. It's something that we sort of take for granted. So while you were moving through the space from the beginning until right now, did you notice anything in particular? It might be fairly obvious. Notice anything in particular?
The distance we all were
Okay.
compared to right now.
So like right now you're pretty close, but before you had some distance, right? So actually you could say that actually physically we're actually really good at this, right? I mean, like if you were all like 1 or 2 years old, you would have been bumping into each other and falling to each other. But like now that we're all college educated and everything, right? We can move through a room together without bumping into each other. It's kind of a sort of thing that you sort of take for granted, don't you? Like when you get into an elevator with a whole bunch of people, right? You don't end up falling on people like this, right? But you kind of get in and you can kind of navigate the space when it's really tight, right? So physically, we're kind of good at that, right? We're kind of good at living in space with each other. So what do you think happens in circumstances, like in maybe social circumstances, when people hurt each other or are violent with each other? What happens so that this kind of really basic elemental capacity to live in space with each other in harmony, even with people that you don't know? What do you think happens? What interrupts that? Yeah.
Wait, what are you asking me? Sorry. Like what?
So when we move through
when
the
they-
space, right, we kind of, without knowing each other,
Right.
right? It's like a group of about 10 people here, we don't know each other. okay? And we can sort of move through the space in a way that's like fairly comfortable with each other. So if you think about bullying happening on a social level, so interpersonally between people, right? What do you think happens that interrupts that so that people don't get along in the way that you might say you all got along in this space?
We get in each other's space.
Okay, so maybe sometimes they're like I fell onto David, maybe sometimes they're too close, okay, yeah.
I would say when like people like bump into you and don't say like sorry or excuse me, then the person that was bumped into is like offended. Like
Okay.
why did they say sorry? Or,
All
like,
right,
why
so,
did
so,
they
so
not-
sometimes I know we used to talk about provocative bullies, right? Or provocative victims, right? That's the term I was looking for. That there's sometimes things about people that might trigger certain kinds of behaviors, right? And so when we work with bullies, we both work with them inhibiting their own violent behavior or aggressive behavior or bullying behavior, but we also could sometimes work with what we call provocative victims. Yes, sir.
I think the bully doesn't respect the other person's space or, comfortability.
Right, absolutely, right? So one may be that someone bumps into another person in a particular way and then doesn't respond in a way to kind of schmooze that over. And one may be that a person may not have developed this kind of capacity that you're all demonstrating in this way of sort of walking through space, right? So those are areas for work, right? When we get to the visual arts element of this, we're going to learn some or practice a particular kind of way of communicating that can help build a climate so that people begin to develop what you could interpret as respect. You could interpret as respect in the classroom. Okay? Anything else you noticed as you were moving through the space?
We were all spinning in the same direction.
That was interesting how that kind of happened. And why do you think that happened?
Try to keep tabs on two people.
Yeah, so following a couple of people around, yeah. Okay, we're gonna try one more activity. So we'll call this activity circle, clump, or line, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to, again, start moving through the space. When I clap my hands, when I clap my hands, what I want you to do is I want you to make a circle, one circle, as quickly as you can. Does that make sense? All right, so. Not bad. All right, so this time, what I want you to do is I want you to start moving through space again. And this time, I want you to be conscious of making the circle not frenetically, not dangerously, but actually making it very fast. And one of the ways that you make the circle very fast is you make a commitment to an action, right? So at one time, you have to be flexible and open, and at the other time, you also have to be committed. A little bit better. All right, let's try again. All right? So, one of the things that we talked about just a minute or so ago is, one, what is it like to keep track of two people? I would suggest that a part of what's going on now is that you are keeping track of everyone, where they are in relation to you and where they are in relation to when the circle forms. Is it getting better? Are you noticing? Getting better? Let's try it once more, okay? So again, and this time I'd like you to move through the space a little faster. And remember, there are openings between people that you can dive into. All right, so this time I want you to again move. That was I think by far the best. Move through the space. All right, so now this time what we're going to do is not a circle, but we're going to do a clump or a cluster. Very nice. we'll try the clump and cluster, we'll try the cluster again. Stay there for a second. Move. Okay, so now, this time, either a clump or a circle, and you have to decide. Either a clump or a circle. And keep moving. Same thing. Either a clump or a circle. Now, just stay there for a second. That circle was actually faster than your first circle or your second circle, even though you now have more choices to make. Once more, either a clump or a circle. All right, so let's make it interesting. A clump, a circle, or a straight line, or a line. A clump, a circle, or a line.
They gonna make it to it fast, no.
Very nice, very nice. Let's try once more. Either a clump, a circle, or a line.
Cluster.
All right, that took a while. Maybe because we introduced the line, it took a while, but that is a lovely line. All right, let's try once more. Either a clump, a circle, or a line. Let's move through the space just a little bit faster. Remember, you can jump through openings. Clump or a circle or a line. Great. Okay. I'm going to make it just a little bit more complicated. You can start moving through the space. Again. Now, same choices. Either a clump or a circle or a line. But I'm not going to clap. So you'll have to decide when to make a clump, make a circle, or make a line on your own. That was good, right? That was very good. Okay, let's try once more. It is kind of a clumpy circle. All right, okay, let's try once more.
They can't make the line, they make the circle.
Say again?
I said if they can't make the line, they just finish the circle off.
So it kind of starts at a line and then it kind of
Yeah.
goes. So a circle is kind of like your default option. Okay, let's do it once more. I'm going to introduce just another we might call it a viewpoint. So this time, same thing, clump, line, or circle, but there can be two. Only two. There may be two. There may be one. But you can make two. A clump, a line, or a circle. Two clumps, a clump and a line, clump and a circle, circle and a line. At your own signal. Okay, so it's kind of a line and a clumpy line. Okay, let's go again. Once more. Again, when you decide to make a line, remember, flexible but committed. So if it's a line, it's a line. If it's a clump, it's a clump. If it's a circle, it's a circle. You have to be flexible and you have to be committed. Yeah, not so bad. All right. So again, start moving. Again, clump, line, or circle. A clump can a clump be one person? Line be one person?
Yeah.
Circle be one person? Clump, a line, or a circle? Okay, stop right there. So I want to point out to you that maybe for the past 15 or 20 minutes, we've been playing with some exercises around organizing yourselves as groups, and that you've improved your capacity to do that without talking, without hand signals. So I would suggest that these kinds of activities can help to build a classroom culture where students can learn to pay attention to one another, respond to one another on a physical level, and then that can be translated to how they behave socially and interpersonally with each other. And I believe how they get there is by practice, just as we did this morning. So I'm going to, you can take a seat if you like. I am going to, any comments or reflections about what you just experienced? Comments, reflections, a little fun?
Well, when we were making 2 units, the first one established right away, and then the second one was, oh, we need to have 2. And we the last people to form up on the second one.
Yeah. So you were sort of paying attention to what are you saying about that? What did you notice about that?
I think there was a desire to make certain that we follow the rules.
So because I said there could be 2, there had to be 2, and that's not necessarily the case. But you did have that option that there could be 2. What else? Anything else you noticed? Yes.
I just thought it was kind of cool. I liked it.
Did you like the activity, the exercise?
I think it would be good for like older children, like middle level.
Mm-hmm. So you think, yeah, okay, cool, yes.
I think it's a good, like, first day, second day kind of thing, and then maybe like again in the middle of the year
Mhm.
to like refresh it and bring
Mhm.
it back in case like kids have like forgot about maybe the concept of it or like
Mhm.
why we did it,
Mhm.
and it goes back throughout the year.
Okay, anything else? Yes,
I
ma'am.
think we became more aware of each other
Mhm.
and what was going on.
Right. So we did a really quick kind of introduction, who are you and why you're here. But I think the activities that we did, and again, we're working under some, fairly challenging time constraints. We only have a certain amount of time, and there's a lot that I want to do with you. But it's very interesting, and I think very, very powerful, to put people in touch with one another, watching each other, and responding to each other, and working on something together, even before you've really gotten to know each other. And to give you an experience of being successful with that, and also having fun at that. My experience, and you'll just have to take my word for it, my experience in doing these kinds of activities with groups, especially with established groups, or groups that you're working to establish, like you're going into a classroom or you're working with a group of youth or you're working with a group of professionals, is that it helps to establish a baseline of trust fairly quickly that gives you a medium to work within to establish some group norms. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know I'm not the most articulate person in the world, right? But it establishes a certain level of trust. For example, come to me really quickly. Let's make a clump here, okay? Come in. This is actually pretty unusual for a group of people that don't know each other to like gather that quickly and this close. I don't know if you know that, but when you sort of go back out there and you start interacting with people that are at the conference, even though people are here in order to help people live well or live better together, we still navigate our space very, very carefully. It'll be interesting for you to kind of see what it feels like to be in a classroom setting and sitting at a table and sort of taking notes, whether or not you feel like the distance between you and other people and the level of trust changes. I would suggest that it does not, because the way that we've been behaving here with each other today is unusual. Most of us know how to behave in a classroom or a professional conference setting, and we can do that, and we still sort of, okay, don't move your desk too close to me, right? We still have our parameters, right, or our boundaries. They're pretty well established. So again, I just wanted to give you, I wanted you to experience what it feels like for you all to kind of come together in a club and have that kind of, there's a certain level of kind of vulnerability and kind of trust that we establish here. Feel it? Right? Okay, I see. All right, so we're going to move on. Usually when I do this exercise, I only do this practice that's called VTS, which is called Visual Thinking Strategies. And I have a very small group of you, so we are going to do VTS. And I want to do it in a particular way. So what I'm probably going to ask is I'm going to ask maybe the 5 of you, not right now, to bring your chairs and to set them up maybe in sort of a half circle. I'm going to project some slides onto the screen, and then we're going to have a conversation about those slides in a particular way. And I'd like the 5 of you to maybe put your chairs in a half circle and just pay attention to the kind of conversation that I have with you. So with that, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this stuff. So I'm going to turn this off, and you're going to have to figure out how to turn it back on. So you all can sort of gather your chairs around in a half circle. And as you can tell, I do the really high-tech stuff here.
I'm impressed you found this slide.
Hmm?
I'm impressed you found this slide.
I have to keep it in my office. I know. So you have to make room for, so that you can, would someone turn that light out? This is not this.
All of it, like that?
Yeah, like that, and I need a book.
Is it okay if you keep one on?
You need it for the,
Yeah.
you can keep one on.
You should drop them, right? Yeah, there should be a drop.
See, this is old technology. It's like the old guys, we know this stuff. Next time we get a mimeograph, that should be fun.
I'll just put one on.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take just a minute, and I want you to look at this image. Is it clear enough? Can you all see it well? Okay. So I want you to take just a minute, take a minute, and look at the image. Okay, what's going on here? Yes.
It looks like the person is sick.
Okay, looks like this person is sick. What do you see that makes you think that person might be sick?
There's medicine. Yeah, and there's like a little vapor, humidifier.
Vapor humidifier here. Okay.
Seems like the little boy is worried about some.
Okay, so it seems like the little boy is worried about, you assume this is the mother? Okay, so it may be obvious, it may not be, but What do you see that makes you think he's worried? What do you see that makes you think it's a boy? What do you see that makes you think that that might be a boy?
The way that the person is dressed makes me as a boy.
Okay, so it looks like male clothing, right? He's not a dress. Okay.
And the way he's like feeling the sheets.
Okay, so kind of it's kind of hard to describe, right? Kind of like a soft kind of, I can feel it, I don't know how to articulate it. Say again?
Petting the sheets.
Yeah, petting the sheets, almost like kind of rolling the ball, kind of wondering what's going on. That's it. I don't know how to exactly articulate that. Okay. And what do you see that makes you think that might be the mother?
Well, the photograph on the dresser is, I'm assuming,
This photograph?
her husband
Okay,
is a military person.
okay, all right. So something about the photograph suggests a relationship between this person, who seems like you agree that that's a woman, it's a female, and this boy. So possibility of this could be a son, a mother, potentially a father. That's what I'm saying. What's going on here?
It's like some religious procedure.
Okay, so what do you see that makes you think religious procedure?
I would think that the leaves that she has,
These leaves here?
yes, and then also that she says that
Humidifier, but you were saying that vaporizer,
yes.
right? And so she said vaporizer or humidifier.
So I would think that's maybe what some religions have to do, they burn something.
Okay.
That for the ghosts disappear, or
Okay.
that ghost.
Okay. All right, so some kind of, you're looking at the leaves and the burning, that maybe it's religious because it's chasing out the ghosts, or in some Native American traditions, they talk about washing. You wash spaces with sage, for example. You walk through spaces and you wash away spirits. So that's that religious thing that was the leaves and the vaporizer or the humidifier. Yes.
The flowers on the dresser also may have some significance.
These flowers here.
Well, both of them.
So these here.
Some colors are significant.
Okay.
Some cultures.
Okay. So again, sort of thinking about what does it mean that these flowers, what does it mean that the flowers are of particular colors may be meaningful to some cultures. Okay. And did you pick up the cultural piece because of the idea that there may be this kind of cultural religious thing going on? Did that trigger that for you? So then colors of flowers may also have a cultural significance or cultural meaning, just like the presence of the leaves and the burning and the washing may come from a particular cultural standpoint or position or group. Okay. What's going on here?
Trying to, the older lady is trying to heal the dynamic.
So this older woman is trying to heal this younger woman. What do you see that makes you think, one, that she's older, and two, that she may be attempting to heal her?
Her hair looks grayish.
All right, so here, this area here looks grayish, so that's kind of a symbol of age and wisdom, all knowing. Okay, all right. What else? What more can you find?
Or just, like stereotype kind of look. Like she has her hair like together, like many older women.
Okay.
And kind of
Okay, so just the way that she's dressed, the way that she's wearing her hair, the gray, all those things kind of suggest age, yes.
I would just say she's like mature woman. She's like well put together, and
Okay.
she just looks like she's a mom, like a mother figure.
Okay, looks like a mom, mature, all put together together?
I think that we need to do this together, maybe while we sit and then try and feel like kind of play them
Okay.
or like deal with it in some
Okay.
way.
Okay. Okay, so bringing a couple of ideas that are kind of up together, that maybe she's ill and that there's some healing that's happening there. What more can we find? Seems like you all have concentrated really right in here in terms of what you're seeing and what you're looking at. Most of your comments have been about relationships between these three, and then from that, relationships with the color of the flowers and the sort of photograph. And all of that is kind of generated from what is the relationship here, and what is the relationship between this and what's happening here. Seems like that's where most of your comments have come from.
I find it interesting because of the dress and
Okay, so this right here?
yes.
So that's, for some reason, you, why is that dress there? Right, right.
So the light outside
Okay, looking
it's
out the
not-
window
it's
here.
not interesting.
Right, and it looks like maybe it's spring, could be summer, something like that. Okay.
It also looks like the leaves on the boughs and just outside of the tree.
So these things look like they're the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. What more can you find? Okay, we're gonna stop there. Okay? So just for those of you that were in the conversation here, how long did you think that took? How long were we in this discussion, this conversation? Felt like about 15 minutes. Okay, all right. Just another question. Do you feel like you understand and you know this piece? Like if you saw it again, you'd say, "Oh yeah." Like, do you think like you would remember it, you would recall it? Feel like you know it? Feel like you studied it? Okay. All right. So for those of you that are watching, what I want to ask you about, want you to think about first is what did you notice about what I did in this discussion?
You repeated what they said to check for understanding.
Okay, so that's a particular kind of paraphrasing. So someone said the colors of the flowers could have something to do with culture, and I sometimes almost verbatim said, what are you saying, right? Okay, so I repeated what they said to check for understanding. What else? Yes.
We only pointed at the things they discussed.
Right, I only pointed at the things that they identified, right? So one of the ways of thinking about that is I work with the material that they offer, right? What else did you notice about what I did? Yes.
You try to lead our view away from the center and towards.
So I was actually aware of that too, because I pointed out that most of your thinking was about here. Yeah.
You asked like how we got to that conclusion that we did.
Okay. So do you remember specifically how I asked that?
You asked why he thought that the boy was a boy.
Right. So
Why?
does anyone remember specifically how I asked that question?
What makes you think that's a boy?
So that's close. Does anybody? Because I find this really fascinating. I find this really, really fascinating.
Because it almost like you doubt yourself, like, oh, maybe that's not.
Maybe it's not a boy, right? Okay, so actually, all right, you guys can stay there. We'll continue the conversation. I'm going to see if I can get this. I'm going to see if I can.